All right, welcome back. Hello and good morning. It's the first match of the day. This is the SC2 Christmas Invitational, and I am sad and forever alone. It's YOLO casting. It's Rifkin, but of course I'm not truly alone because I have part 2 on the OBS wheel today. So thank you to him for tuning in and making the introductions look fancy with this awesome thing in the top left, but not the top left, the lower right corner of the map, playing for Mouse Sports. It's the blue Zerg you all know as Vortix. His opponent, some fancy camera civils. One of the many Europeans in this tournament. Give it up for the red Terran known as Aqueron, who, from what I understand, is a fairly young Terran player. I'm not sure if it's true or not. Someone in the chat said he was like 12 years old. I would buy it. Had a lot of other really good 12-year-olds like cropping up in the scene, like Raynor from My Insanity. Well, he's like 11, not even 12. So, Hero Marine's not exactly 12, but he's another really young tyke, so to speak. Man, it makes me feel old to say that, but the bottom line is there's a lot of really young, but really good players involved in Starcraft 2. So, we'll see how this guy holds up today against Vortix. These are group stages, so this is, again, well, not again, but firstly, a best of 3. I should probably turn my own production tab on. That'll help me watch the match. You guys can type ! brackets in chat at any time, by the way, to bring up that list. Scroll down to the bottom. You can see the different group stages. There's about 8 in total. This one involves Vortix, Aqueron, NMrUUG, and Nara. So 2 Zergs, a Terran, and a Protoss. Pretty good mix of what's going to go on. If you're unfamiliar with how group stages work, it's not exactly like a... It's not too complicated to explain, but the long story short is this match does matter for your placement. Like, you don't obviously want to lose. You'll go... Like, if Vortix or Aqueron win this, they'll have 1 point in the group. And, of course, the most points gets out, and the least amount are eliminated. Is the long story short of that explanation, but... I like the Vortix scouted horizontal first. This is actually kind of key on this map more than any others. We kind of talked about scouting the other day while casting, and it looked like people... We're buying that for time buying mumbo jumbo, so we'll do it again. On a map like Frost, scouting your opponent is really important, obviously for multiple reasons. One, you want to just know what they're doing, keep an eye on their tech, see that this is in fact a Reaper coming out first. Looks like this drone's about to die, and the big reason we saw the Overlord go to the bottom left instead of the upper right or across the map randomly is because this third base for Vortex to the left of his main is like the worst base for him to take if his opponent spawns in the lower left. So confirming that that's not the case, now he can actually safely take that base as his third a lot more comfortably than if we were to take the one in the center of the map very close to his opponent. Now that being said, actually Vortex can be a rather aggressive player, so he may still go for that northern base just to be a little bit closer and get the reinforcement in the fight line basically that much closer to the base of Aqueron. Now Reaper is going to get up towards the main. He's already got a kill under his belt. We'll see if we can get many more. It's a couple lings though, it's really nothing too crazy. Big thing too, Vortix didn't make additional links run across the map, either A, because he realizes that most of the time that ends up being pretty futile, or B, because the Overlord actually saw the command center coming down on the high ground. Either way, he's only got the 1 Reaper to dance with right now. Here comes Reaper number 2. And now the Queens have to start being a little bit concerned. The nice thing about Frost, though, is it is deceptive as far as like how dangerous it is to get towards the main. There's only really 2 spots outside this natural ramp where Reapers can jump up. And they're both very easily covered. So I mean, right now Vortix has full vision of what's going on. These Reapers shouldn't really be able to cause too much trouble. I don't like that he's really poking off the creep with that Queen though. He really needs to spread this out before he starts pushing. I mean, a big reason why he's trying to do this is to keep the combat drugs from kicking in. He doesn't want Aqueron to get those free heals, but if he does that, then perhaps he'll lose as a Queen. So has to be a little bit careful in that regard. Oh, I can actually tab out the chat, not miss a beat. Ace First Blood. There you go, cool. As Aqueron does find that second ledge to hop towards the main, but there's 4 Queens out. There's a lot of slow lings. This Queen is in no immediate danger of dying, and yeah, Aqueron's not going to get too much done. So at this point for Aqueron, it's really important he either A, YOLOs the Reapers in to scout if he's really scared of like a Spire or something coming up really early, or he keeps them alive for the Hellions to follow this up. Vortix is a foreigner who actually is quite good with his creep spread, and if you let this get out of control early, you're going to have a hard time in the mid to late game. So, while I can't exactly snipe, well, he can if he was super go to Aqueron, that is, try and snipe off the creep tumors now. Once he gets the Hellions out for some map control, it'll be a little bit easier with his Reapers to soak the damage from the Queens instead of the Hellions. One thing that's got to need to is Vortix didn't exactly super rush out Metabolic Boost. He was very confident with his I guess between creep spread, queens, and zerglings, that he could hold off the Reaper without taking too many losses. Oftentimes, we see players try and rush out that speed just to clean them up a little more fluidly, a little more easily. Overlord does die in the base of Aqueron, but not before scouting 3 racks. No starport. It looks like Aqueron's just getting pretty defensive here. That's another big thing too about the Reapers being on the other side of the map. At this point, we see the full wall off coming at the natural base of Aqueron. Typically and normally, you know, it's between that 6 to 7 minute mark where it's like the danger zone you're riding. You don't know if an all-in's coming. You don't know if it's roaches, banelings, or what have you. You got to be a little bit careful about it. But having the Reapers on the other side of the map and see none of those things coming, completely allowed Aqueron to just play a little bit more, I guess, delayed with his wall. I mean, he still knows it's important. He's completely erected a full wall off now. Third base going to take a little bit of damage, but better than doing nothing with the Hellions. Vortix canceled the creep tumor spreading towards the west too, which was kind of cute. Or sorry, east, which was kind of cute. Aqueron does have to be careful. These Lings are going to go for this round. Nice control of the Hellions so far, but not a position you want to be in. When you get stuck like this, of course, it's very difficult to get away, but somehow Aqueron actually does really nice control there out of our Terran player. That's typically a scenario like that where you see about 2 or 4 Hellions go down. Banelings being morphed in quite early here too. I don't know if Vortix is worried about a follow-up or just mad that he couldn't kill those Lings. One way or another, he's gonna be able to hold his own. Should be quite nice. Spire's on the way too. So what Vortix is doing, guys, not at all late with his timings. It's a little bit awkward to see, but it's going to work out nicely because Aqueron's push was also delayed. Coming across now with some Marines. They do not have combat shields, but they do have stim pack. And with 2 medevacs and 6 Hellions still alive, yeah, the Hellions are almost dead, but if they can kill some Banelings, if they can, I don't know, soak some Ling hits, kill some, fry some, dice them up, I don't know, but the Hellions being alive is going to be really nice for this next engagement. As long as the Marines don't take those hits, they'll be good to go. Big stim forward now. Looks like Vortix a little bit tentative to engage, but at least he's going to get the engagement on creep. Marines are quite clumped up, though. I'm a little bit worried for this army. He does pick most of them up. In fact, picks up 16 of them and gets away scot-free. Well, not scot-free. It took those Hellion losses in the end. Kind of sucked. Not a lot of Lings went down there either, and a couple Banelings were used, but when we look at the resources lost, still not exactly looking amazing for Vortix. Did start evening this up, though. Now, third base has been pretty much saturated at this point with no real worry about a push. And like I said, I rather enjoy that Vortix went northward with his base instead of taking the safer one. This puts the creep spread a lot closer to the Terran's base a lot sooner. It provides that sort of reinforcement line a little bit closer. You can afford to be a little more aggressive. The extra like 30 seconds you save running from the south to the north really pays off in this sort of matchup, especially because you're gonna have to dance around Terran players whether they're trying to drop or just push with Biomine, and that looks to be what Aqueron's gonna do this time. He does have combat shields, no +1 on the way. They're on the way, but not done yet. Vortix is on 1-1, so these Banelings can do an incredibly nice amount of damage to this bio if they can connect. Widowmines are not exactly the greatest deterrent, though. They used to be like, set them, forget them, you're good to go, and suddenly you can start dancing with Lings on creep. Nowadays, with the recent changes, just not reliable the same way they used to be. Marines are going to push forward a little bit. There are Mutalists out. He's got to be careful with these medevacs. There are 4 of them. I like that he's using low amounts of Marines to start, whether it's focus fire or... Oh my god, Vortix just lost so many Banelings there. Used way too many on those Marines, and the Widowmine got a really nice hit up. I was just finished talking about how Widowmines are where they used to be, but certainly got the job done. Aqueron handling it correctly. Is going to patrol some Marines around to try and avoid those hits. Still get some good Baneling connects, though, does Vortix. But there's even more morphing behind this, so it's not like he's out of them just yet. And the less Marines available, the more viable the Mutalists become as far as this fight goes. Because Vortix doesn't have a lot of them, but he's got enough of them. Looks like he'll push this force back. Another Widowmine hit does not actually go off. Overseers are a little bit too good with their detection. And Aqueron actually has nothing in base right now. Perhaps having pushed with all of his force, all of his units, was not the best idea, but Vortix doesn't know this, so is going to fall back for now. There's only a small handful of Marines and Widowmines to hold the line, but if Vortix takes down that bunker, there's nothing to hold the line. Widowmines do go off quite nicely on these Lings, but even then the Banelings still stand. The depot is down, but Vortix not going to capitalize on this. Now pushes the Banelings forward, and with the Mutalists with the Banelings, gets a lot of damage done on this bio. I think the production The production out of Aqueron should be able to hold this if he pulls the SCVs back, but actually, as I say that, takes a pretty big bailing hit on that mineral line. Couple Woodwise Spear on the ramp. Looks like the orbital's actually going to die. Oh, that is not good. He does have an orbital at the third, but it's not been landed while this chaos has been going on. Depots are still down at the front of the ramp. Aqueron, lift your depots. Raise your dongers. Oh, he's just going to tap out instead. Good game well played. It's called Vortix. We'll take game number 1 in this best of 3.